Hey, folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Southwest Virginia fishing report with Matt Reilly. Matt, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Fairly strung out and hoping for the weather to change a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're getting ready to record a little bit earlier than normal today, and it's kind of funny. I was thinking about you because it's, as we get into March, it's just so windy in Virginia, but we've also had like bluebird skies too, which doesn't make the angling great.
No, it's been pretty much high pressure. Seems like for 2 weeks now. I mean, I was telling my guys today, I don't think I've seen a cloud or fished in less than 10 miles an hour wind for a couple of weeks, but we've managed to get it done. I mean, we've put lots of fish in the boat the last week or two. Dealing with some high, dirty, not so much high anymore, but some dirty water right now too, which doesn't help. So I would say from a musky fishing standpoint, man, I hate to call it boring, but like we have not been seeing a lot of movement. But fish have been eaten. So it's kind of been an all or nothing bite that you kind of just have to stick around for. It's a mental game, more than it usually is, where you're not getting a lot of, feedback moving fish throughout the day. I've had a lot of days the last week and a half where we, saw one fish and it was the one that landed in the net, so it makes it tough, but we're getting through it.
Yeah, and so you were telling me before we started recording that you literally have only a couple more, musky days on your dance card, and you're going to full-blown shift to pre-spawn smallmouth.
Correct. Yeah. I usually try to make that jump early March, just because, it seems like our water temps this time of year have been trending warmer earlier. And it's, you just don't want to end up in a boat looking for muskies when they're immediately pre-spawn and the water temps in the, upper, 50 to 52, 53 degree range, because smallmouth fishing can be fantastic. And, it's just hard to justify. So I make that jump fairly early. I've strung it out a little bit longer than I have the last couple of years this year, just because we have had some cooler temps lately that have knocked the water temps back a bit. And I had a pile of, probably like 15, 20 days get rescheduled back through January and February. So we had to put them somewhere, and we've still got, water temps today. We did have a couple of, we had a air temperature setback yesterday, where we dropped into the 20s again overnight. Same thing last night. And we're going to start slowly warming up again, but we're in the, low to mid 40s right now, depending on where you are. But we've got some very few lows in the 30s and a couple of highs near 70 in the next, 5-6 days. So, I think we're going to stay in those upper 40s here, from here on out.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I've seen my first robin and daffodil, so I think you're right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've been, we've had robins for a while now. But I'm sure that varies with location too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, one of our favorite question askers, Brenner, had a pre-spawn smallmouth question, so I think his timing is perfect. And he wanted to get your thoughts on color recommendations for crayfish and pre-spawn smallmouth.
Sure. Yeah. I would say, I mean, I keep my crayfish color choices pretty basic. I think I've talked about this before, but, if we're going to relate it specifically to pre-spawn, I'm going to isolate the, stream flow and water clarity variable. Not that I don't deal with high water, dirty water in the summertime, but in the spring, I'd say you probably deal with a lot more, consistently, colored water, because we're getting a lot of rain at times. But my standards are pretty much just variations on, brown, olive, natural color, and then black and blues and black and purples, something contrasty, black and red, black with, copper, something like that. Um, and then, like I said, variations on natural browns. What the gear guys call peanut butter and jelly is a good color. Sort of tan, brown, and purple, purple accents. Um, that's pretty much what I do. I don't make it much more complicated than that. Um, you can get creative. I mean, in the New River, I'll see a fair number of crayfish that have a lot of red on them. They'll be dark black with red splotches. So that's kind of a fun, different color to have, and um, you know, black and oranges and stuff like that. Things that are natural. If you want to play around with color patterns, just variations on all those natural colors are fine. And um, I would say just in fly tying in general, it's a huge benefit to have that skill where you can go home and tie flies and kind of match what you're seeing, but also tying things in different colors just to have, you have six different colors that could be considered natural. And in my mind, it's not a bad thing to fish a bunch of different colors that fit into those schemes, because, then you're not showing the fish the same fly every day. Um, so, definitely have fun with it, but I wouldn't overthink it. Something that shows up in dirty water and something that's more natural and will work well in clear water.
Yeah, and I would imagine those color rules kind of, they work for everything, not just crayfish, right? Changers and everything else you want to fish for pre-spawn.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I will say too, to kind of broaden it a little bit, I do think there's also a bit. So, the if you're going to isolate the water clarity variable, you know, dark contrasty colors in dirty water, more natural, lighter colors in clear water. I also think there's something to be said for fishing colors that can be seen um, from further away in colder water, just because the fish are not moving quite as much. Their reactive distances are smaller than they are in warm, you know, sort of temperate water. And I think if those fish can be aware of your fly for longer and they can kind of take their time getting to it, as opposed to, having a fly that they can't see very well, um, moving past them pretty quickly. I think that's sometimes a benefit. So sometimes I'll consider the water temperature too, and just, you know, how visible and how catchable that color is going to be.
Got it. And folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email me or DM me on social media, whatever is easiest for you. And if we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag. And for a drawing for some cool stuff from Matt at the end of the season. And Matt, before I let you go, you want to let folks know, like, I'm sure you're super booked up probably into like August, but kind of let folks know what you have available. I know you're running a striper program, and you might be chasing some cicadas as well.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much spoken for the spring smallmouth stuff. There's always a day or two popping up here and there with cancellations and things. So never be scared to ask. But um, yeah, I probably still have maybe 7 striper slots in early May. Um, and then, yeah, I haven't really talked about it much publicly. But we are going to have another periodical cicada hatch in the southeast this spring. So that'll be, mid May to mid June time frame. And then I've got a dozen or so dates, you know, just kind of interspersed throughout the summer months. And then we're talking about the fall. So, like I always say, anything that I do that you're interested in, just shoot me a phone call or something. We'll at least start talking about it because, you know, selecting the proper season within the season to accomplish whatever goal you might have, or kind of meet you where you are, in terms of targeting a certain species and learning, potentially from square one is pretty important to me. Try to match all of that really well so everybody has the best experience possible. And that's kind of tough when you call in February wanting to book a musky trip. So if there's something you're interested in, reach out and we'll try to find the perfect time to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so I know, I mean, I know that the state college boys are tying cicadas. What's the footprint for this cicada emergence this summer?
Yeah. Middle Pennsylvania is definitely a hot zone, but parts of Southwest Virginia, East Tennessee, East Central Kentucky, parts of West Virginia. I'm sure there's more, but that is sort of in my immediate sphere, what I'm aware of. And yeah, it's do your homework. It's not an easy thing, and if just because you hear about a cicada hatch on the news doesn't mean it's going to happen in your backyard. So, do your research and do your footwork if you have plans to capitalize on that, or call me because I obsess over that and I spend a lot of time doing the research and doing the footwork.
There you go. And, folks, as I always say, if it's warm enough where you are, you should get out and fish. If it's not quite warm enough yet, tie some flies, or if you've got a fly fishing show near you, drop by and check it out. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Matt.
Thanks, Marvin.